Shalom, Most High in Christ bless. I'm Officer Noah, and tonight's class is going to be as a man thinks. So we want to get into the thought process of man, why we think the way we think, and the end results of us thinking evil or wrong or even good. So we're going to start off with Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 7. Go ahead and read that for me, Soldier Zakai.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 23 and verse 7. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee.
So the scriptures say, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. So what I want to go over first is a video. I know the video is kind of slow, it's kind of dry, but I want to touch in what dopamine is, because it plays a part in why we do the things that we do. It's that positive reaffirmation, I think the word is. Is it affirmation? Positive affirmation that tells us like we doing a good job and to keep doing it. So when our brain registers that, it's like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I prefer over this. And when it comes to us as a people, sin excites us. And I ain't gonna lie. We love sin, and sin is fun, but it has its consequence. And we have to teach ourselves not to love sin, which our brain is telling us like, yeah, that's good. We like it. It feels good. It's pleasurable. All these things to while we do sin. So go ahead and play that.
All right, let's get started with the basics. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter and plays several key roles in the brain and body. It is one of those chemicals that is responsible for transmitting signals between the nerve cells in the brain. These are also called neurons. Dopamine is a feel-good hormone and is able to give you pleasure, a sense of reward, and therefore motivation to do something. When you are feeling pleasure from maybe kissing someone, the brain will release a big amount of dopamine, and that's the reason why you'll feel so amazing when it happens. So how do you feel when you eat a really good meal, fast food, or when you consume a Coca-Cola? You feel good, right? So what's the reason for this? There is a system in your brain that's called the reward system. This can be found in both humans and animals. This system was designed to reward you when you're doing things that advances your survival. This includes primal behaviors like eating and sexual acts. The brain knows when you eat or drink because it transmits that you're doing something right, and it releases a bunch of feel-good chemicals in the reward system. These chemicals include the neurotransmitter dopamine, which your brain translates as pleasure. Now, the thing is that the brain is hardwired to seek out these behaviors that will release dopamine in the reward system. That is why addiction is a thing. The problem with junk food is that it causes a reward that is way more powerful than anything you can get from Whole Foods.
So stop right there. So it's giving an example of food, like eating a burger and having a soda or a pop, whatever you want to call it, versus you having something that's healthy. The brain is like, yeah, it was good, but I prefer this. So it doesn't send out those chemicals to say like, yeah, man, I really love this. I got to have this. We don't want the healthier choice. We want the choice that makes us feel better about when we eat it. Like the whole purpose of eating is to survive. But how our brain interprets things now is, no, I just want to eat for pleasure. And it turns into obesity and other things. And we're going to see as the class further goes out how sin plays that part. Go ahead and press play.
So the brain will trick you into thinking that it's okay to actually eat junk food. And it will make up excuses why it's okay to eat it. Dopamine rewards you by making you feel good, right? So because of this, we seek more of it. That's why cocaine and sugar are so addictive. Cocaine itself are not responsible for making you feel good. It's only a trigger that releases a massive amount of dopamine into your brain, which by extension is why you will feel like you're on top of the world. Now, I certainly don't recommend doing drugs, because what happens next is that you will get these highs and lows of dopamine by doing drugs. Will deplete your dopamine reserves and mess with your natural production of dopamine. This will in the end result in addiction. because when you get dopamine from somewhere else than your natural dopamine production, your brain doesn't get the same amount of dopamine from doing normal things like eating or drinking, for example.
And that's another thing. Hold right there. That's another thing. Like when people smoke, like if it's like cigarettes or weed, there's something in your body that's getting pushed out, like what the video is explaining, that you need this and your brain becomes dependent on it because it makes you happy. If you convince yourself that something that's harmful to your body is good for you, and you see our people in this constant cycle of doing things that's bad for them because it makes them feel better or happy. Get Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. I forgot about this when I was writing the notes. Because this is why we have to change our minds in the world that we live in, because the world that we live in is upside down. The things that are good are meant bad, and the things that are bad are told to us is like, yeah, that's good. You can do that. That's all right. We're getting so much positive feedback for evil things that it's good now to us, that it's normal process, and our natural state is faded. Read that.
The book of Romans, chapter 12 and verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
So this is what we need to come to understand what we really need. Go ahead and play.
And because of this, you'll experience mood swings, depression, lack of motivation, and the list goes on. Now that we know how important dopamine is for us, how can we improve our dopamine levels in a natural way? Well, first off, don't take things that increase dopamine unnaturally. Here's something you can take action on right now. You might not know this, but caffeine increases dopamine levels, not by a lot, but if you drink coffee often and in large amounts, this will have negative effects on your natural dopamine production. So being thoughtful about how much you drink will increase your natural production of dopamine. Things like eating junk food, candy, playing video games, and watching porn is all triggers that will release big amounts of dopamine. So the less you do these unhealthy things, the more easier it will be to do the healthy ones. Because when you stop your body from dopamine, it will start seeking out new things that will release it. This is where, like running and making important work, will benefit you a lot, because I can tell you this much. Imagine you just finished something you put 10 to 20 hours of hard work, sweat and tears, and then finally finishing it. The feeling of accomplishment of all that work you did to achieve this. You'll feel so much better than playing any video game or eating any kind of food. Dopamine is able to make you feel a natural high, and you can achieve this by running or doing exercise, because your body will be releasing dopamine naturally. Understanding that dopamine is responsible for why we do things is a huge advantage if we act accordingly to produce our own motivation, rewire our brains, and by extension, achieve our goals.
So
that's it.
With that video being said, the average person does not like working hard. Because the video is like you work 10 to 15 hours working hard on something, and then once you accomplish it, you feel some type of way. But on the other side of it, it was talking about with video games, a porn addiction, and other negative attributes that have really, you're not really achieving anything in the real world. It sends out these dopamines at a high level, making you feel like you're achieving something. So you're more, you want to do those things more than the things that you need to do. Like reading a book. Reading a full chapter book, it's boring, it's long, it's drawn out, you tripping over words, it's frustrating, but once you finish it, you feel some type of way. But finishing it is the hard part for a lot of people versus you playing a video game. And I'm correlating this to how we operate with sin. So get Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9. Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 17 and verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?
So based off the video we just watched, you see how the brain will trick you into doing something that has no weight of value, but it makes you feel happy versus actually accomplishing something that took you a while to do. So the Bible is saying, who can really know the mind? And these are one of the things that society has us so occupied in the things of the world to make us happy and keep us going and motivating to keep the world going, to where we're not even really accomplishing things that pertains to our life. And then we blame everybody else, man, you distracted me, you did this and you did this. No, it's really your own thought process and the things that you have been putting in it that got you in this state. Our minds have to be cleansed and washed to get this kingdom, to actually endure these temptations. Read on.
Verse 10. I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins.
And he's going to do it with the trials and tribulations that come once you start keeping the commandments. Read.
Even to give every man according to his ways.
So what you put in is what you're going to get out. You can't be mad at anybody else because of what you're getting out of life or out of the scriptures ain't what the next man get. Here it is. This brother's making soldier. He's making officer. He's putting in the works. But you just show up every day and you don't do nothing. Or you don't show up and you still want the same attributes as the next man or the next sister that's been doing something. Read.
Even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings.
So you're going to reap what you sow. The fruits of your labor, that's what you're going to get. Get Jeremiah 16, chapter 16 and verse 11. 16 and 11. And we're going to read it down to 13.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 16 and verse 11. Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the Lord, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law.
So that's our problem. We want to do everything the other nations are doing, the heathens. We want to be like them, to where we left off the true living God and went into a whole imagination about something else. Read.
And have not kept my law. And ye have done worse than your fathers.
Now we in a worse state. Read.
For behold, ye walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart.
That is the motto of America. You can do whatever you want. This is the land of the free-minded people. Because when they tell you that it's the land of the free, they ain't talking about the laws that they put on you, the conditions that they put on you. It means that if you want to believe in unicorns and ponytails and all these different madness things, if you want to have same-sex marriages, that's the freedom that they give you. You don't get freedom of speech. You just get freedom to live your life however you want, not under the guise of God. The God-given laws, you can throw them away. If you don't want to follow the church, you can make up your own church. You can be your own God. That's the freedom that they give you here in America. Read.
That they may not hearken unto me. Therefore will I cast you out of this land into a land that ye know not.
And here we are in captivity still to this day. Read.
Neither ye nor your fathers. And there shall ye serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor.
So God ain't showing us favor in this captivity. And as you can see, this is a country that they say New York is the city that never sleeps, but really it's the country. This is the only place that I've been that you have access to food 24/7. Like you can go anywhere and have food, like electricity, like everything is still running. Off in other countries, listen, when the sun go down, everybody's done. There ain't no work, nobody's plowing, nobody's in the field, nobody trying to get that extra work in. Everything dies once the sun go down. Not in America. Everything got to keep moving, keep working. It's a sweatshop here. Get Mark chapter 7 and verse 18. We're going to read this through 23. Mark 7 and 23. Because Christ gave us the insight on the mind. Because we want to blame others. Like, man, I ate this, I did this. It's how you think. as to why you end up in the situations that you're in. It's your mind that controls whether you're going to do this versus that, the right thing or the wrong thing. And that's what he was talking about with the corruption. Read.
The Gospel of Mark, chapter 7 and verse 18. And he said unto them, are ye so without understanding also? Do you not perceive that what's...
People think Christ is a nice guy, like he was just talking to people like with all softness in his voice. He pretty much called these dudes slow, retarded. Are you mentally ill? You ill? Do you not understand what I'm saying? Read.
Are ye so without understanding also? Do you not perceive that whatsoever thing from without entereth into the man, it cannot defile him?
So he's saying it's not so much as what you do, because what it was people weren't washing their hands and then they'll just eat with their dirty hands. So Christ is saying that holds no weight to what I'm doing. Listen to what I'm telling you, because this is the issue with the Hebrews. It's the things that you think that come out your mouth and your actions. Read.
Verse 19. Because it entereth not into his heart, but into the belly, and goeth out into the draught, purging all meats.
Meaning you just going to digest that and it's going to go out. Read.
And he said, that which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts.
So it's saying the thing that's actually messing us up is how we think, our thought process. And what comes out of the heart or the mind? Read.
Out of the heart of men proceed evil thoughts.
Evil thoughts. Let's see what evil thoughts we have.
Adulteries.
And that pushes that dopamine out there to where we're excited once we get that type of pleasure, to where we want to keep doing it versus abstaining from it. Read.
Fornications.
Fornication.
Murders.
Murder. As weird as that is, it excites you that you get to shoot somebody in the face, stab them and watch them bleed out. That excites our people that we can do those things. And that pushes that dopamine to where you want to do it again and again and again and again. Read.
Murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, and evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man.
So this is what's messing our nation up. This is what's getting us trapped in these captivities. This is what's pushing us away from the Most High God. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 1. We got to learn to love the Most High as is written. And sometimes it's not going to be sweet. It's going to be bitter. It's going to be a long, hard road to get that pleasure that we're so aimlessly looking for. Because here it is. You keeping the commandments. But you still got to get up and work every single day, pay taxes, pay a water bill, and get like maybe 5%, 3% of your check back to enjoy the things that you want to do in life. That ain't pleasurable. So the desire to get up and go to work and every single day and keep the commandments on top of that and deal with the nonsense of traffic and people at the office, you don't want to do that because it's not desirable to wake up at 6 o'clock. To get home at 6 p.m. and wake up and do it all again. It's not pleasurable. So you want to unwind, play the video game, release those dopamines that's quick and easy instead of doing the hard road and enduring. Sin is just so accessible. We have sin so close to us that accessible. I got it. Sin is so accessible that dopamine is just constantly released, that sense of pleasure. It's constantly released in us to where we just keep doing it and keep doing it. But that's what we got to resist. Where I have you at Wisdom of Solomon 1. Go ahead.
The Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 1.
This man is so proper. The Wisdom of Solomon. Most people just skip that. The Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1. Yeah, go ahead, bro. You all right with me.
Love righteousness. Ye that be judges of the earth.
That's where you're going to get your pleasure from. When you love righteousness and you see the result that doing things the right way can get you, it's lovely. Read.
Ye that be judges of the earth. Think of the Lord with a good heart.
So you got to make this your process. The thing that I'm doing today for my people, keeping the commandments, that's thinking with a good heart because you're a judge of the earth. What else does it say? Read that again.
Think of the Lord with a good heart And in simplicity of heart seek him.
Because it's a simple thing to seek God. It's not hard not to shave your beard, for a woman to wear a dress, not to sleep with another woman. It's not hard to do those things. It's just that it's so accessible that it releases that. As soon as you see a woman walk past, you're like, oh, yeah, I feel something now. That's that pleasure. You want to indulge in it. You're going to have to resist those things to get the kingdom of heaven and endure what's being pushed out. Read.
And in simplicity of heart seek him. For he will be found of them that tempt him not. And showeth himself unto such as do not distrust him.
Trust God, because he's going to give you the ultimate pleasure, which is the kingdom of heaven. You won't have to get up and work. You won't be oppressed. The things that you worried about here in this captivity, that's what you got to trust in. That's where your motivation is. That's that so-called, well, not so-called, that's that 10, 15 hours of hard work that you doing. But this is your life we talking about, your soul. So that you got to endure is what I'm saying. Read.
Verse 3. For forward thoughts separate from God.
So your imagination is going to separate you from the thought process of God. To the fact of where?
For forward thoughts separate from God. And his power, when it is tried, reproveth the unwise. For into a malicious soul, wisdom shall not enter.
So if you got a malicious soul, a hateful soul, an evil spirit, God can't deal with you because you so caught up in what makes you happy, what pleases you, to where you didn't become your own God. Read.
For into a malicious soul, wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin.
So if you subject yourself to various of sin, you're going to be so caught up in that loop of sin in this way and that way and this way that you won't understand that you're an Israelite because you're so wrapped up in making yourself happy. Read.
Verse 5. For the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit and remove from thoughts that are without understanding.
That's what these scriptures are supposed to do. It's supposed to change your mind. It's supposed to conform you because everything that's been taught is opposite of what God teaches. And we're taught to hate God and love evil. Read.
And remove from thoughts that are without understanding.
So when misunderstanding comes, you should be able to see it as a man that's keeping God's law. But if you have that undisciplined and malicious spirit, you won't see sin coming. And you're going to run straight to it like that's entertainment, like that's fun. Read.
And will not abide when unrighteousness cometh in. For wisdom is a loving spirit, and will not acquit a blasphemer of his words. For God is witness of his reigns, and a true beholder of his heart.
So the Most High know everything. He understands what you thinking, it's all recorded. What you say, what you do, he records every single thing. He counts your footsteps. He knows how many hairs you have on your head. Read.
And a true beholder of his heart, and a hearer of his tongue. For the Spirit of the Lord filleth the world, and that which containeth all things hath knowledge of the voice. Therefore, he that speaketh unrighteous things cannot be hid.
That's all I wanted on that. Get Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 25. Now we're going to look at King Solomon. No, get one first. Get chapter 1 and 14 first. I want this one. I wrote them both down, but I think I want this one. It goes, he explains it a little different.
1 and 14?
Yeah. Read it through 17.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 14. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun.
So King Solomon is saying that he's seen everything. There's nothing that he didn't experience, see, or anything. And he's going to explain what he's talking about. Read.
I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit.
Read.
That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered.
So he's saying, if you evil, you gonna be evil. The things that you fixed yourself to do, you can't make a good thing bad, nor can you make a bad thing good. If it was meant for bad, that's exactly what it is. You can't recreate it into something and say, oh no, it's good. God, you can't do that. What's evil is evil, and what's good is good. What's righteous is righteous. That's why in Revelations it said, let the just be just. Because the ones that has been following Christ since the beginning are going to be the ones that follow Christ in the end. And the ones that have followed the devil, same thing with them. Read.
Verse 16. I communed with mine own heart, saying, Lo, I am come to a great estate, and have gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem.
So King Solomon knew everything. He knew the operations of everything that we see before us and don't see before us in these days. Read.
Yea, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge.
So he was a very intelligent, smart man. Read.
Verse 17.
Not only that, he knew the Bible through and through. He knew the laws of God. He understood judgment very well. Read.
And I gave my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly.
He gave his heart to know wisdom and folly, meaning that he exercised what he knew in wisdom and in foolishness and in sin. Read.
And to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit.
So what I want to read now is a book called As a Man Thinketh. Read page 4 and 4 through 6. Just to make a point on men's mind, how we think.
Just the highlighted parts?
Yes.
Okay. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Page 4 says, man is made or unmade by himself.
Go ahead.
In the armory of thought, he forges the weapons by which he destroys himself.
So what the book is saying is that a man either makes or breaks himself by how he thinks of himself, as he perceives the life in front of him. How he does things in his thinking process is either going to make him great or it's going to make him less of a man. Read. The highlighted parts going forward, yeah.
He also fashions the tools with which he builds for himself heavenly mansions of joy and strength and peace. By the right choice and true application of thought, man ascends to the divine perfection. By the abuse and wrong application of thought, he descends below the level of the beast. Between these two extremes are all the grades of character, and man is their maker and master.
So Solomon was thinking about, like, listen, I'm great. I'm the king of Israel. God has blessed me with a great mind to know all things that exist under the sun. I have wisdom and experience. And he said he gave his heart to understand and have the experience of all the things that he was given in his mind. So read on to the next page, page 5.
As a being of power, intelligence, and love, and the Lord of his own thoughts, man holds the key to every situation and contains within himself that transforming and regenerative agency by which he may make himself what he wills. Man is always the master, even in his weaker and most abandoned state. But in his weakness and degradation, he is the foolish master who misgoverns his household.
So a man can either make himself great. So a man can set out and say, listen, I'm going to be the greatest businessman on earth. And guess what? He applies his mind to that. He puts in the work and the hours to make himself that great of a man. Also, a man will say, man, I ain't doing nothing. I won't do this. And that train of thought makes that man into a lower state because he doesn't have, self-esteem. His self-esteem ain't there to push him to be great. Or he don't have the tools that to study to give himself that type of aspiration to be great. So he stays in that lower state of nothingness. Read on.
When he begins to reflect upon his condition and to search diligently for the law upon which his being is established, he then becomes the wise master, directing his energies with intelligence and fashioning his thoughts to fruitful issues. Such is the conscious master.
So this man, he's going to get rid of all the distractions, all the excuses that he had in his mind. This type of man, he's going to Think about that. And that's what the Most High did when he put us in this captivity. We're going to have to think about all the things that we did wrong and make them right in this captivity. Read.
Such is the conscious master, and man can only thus become by discovering within himself the laws of thought, which discovery is totally a matter of application, self-analysis, and experience.
So pretty much it's saying you got to know yourself and use your abilities to the best of your knowledge. And if you lack any knowledge with your abilities, study those things. And that's what the Bible is here for, to show you you. Show you you in the wrong and in the right, and encourage you to be the best righteous man or sister that you supposed to be. Read.
Only by much searching and mining are gold and diamonds obtained.
And doesn't the Bible consider compare you to being fine gold? But listen to the to what it says about gold. Read.
And man can find every truth connected with his being, if he will dig deep into the mind of his soul, and that he is the maker of his character, the molder of his life, and the builder of his destiny. He may unerringly prove, if he will watch, control, and alter his thoughts, tracing their effects upon himself, upon others, and upon his life and circumstances, linking cause and effect by patient and practice and investigation, and utilizing his every experience, even to the most trivial, everyday occurrence, as a means of obtaining that knowledge of himself, which is understanding, wisdom, power. In this direction, as in no other, is the law absolute, that he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. For only by patience, practice, and ceaseless importunity can a man enter the door of the temple of knowledge.
So this is a man that's going to be patient. He's not going to be hasty to get this knowledge, because understanding what you're supposed to do as an Israelite, it isn't like, I got it. I read the whole Bible and I know exactly what I need to do. Trials and tribulations are going to come. And those trials and tribulations are going to show whether that man is going to use the wisdom and information that he's been given according to the commandments, or is he going to revert back to his own self and destroy himself with his own information. And that's what the Bible is trying to protect us from, is our own minds. How we think and perceive things when we get into situations, when we're faced with sin. So get Jeremiah 7:24. I don't think I captured the one where it was talking about, it said about burning gold. I forgot what page it was. It might come back up. But it was like, there's no need to burn off the impurities off of gold once all the impurities are gone. You don't need to keep burning the gold to make it pure. It's already done. And for us, our impurities are not burnt off yet. We haven't got all the sin off of us. Because some of us, even in this truth, love the sins that we're in, or we don't understand all the sins that we still commit. Go ahead, read that.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 7 and verse 24. But they hearken not, nor incline their ear, but walked in the counsels and in the imagination of their evil heart.
And that's what we do today.
And when
we go into our own minds, our own understanding, and we walk in that imagination. Read that again.
But they hearken not, nor incline their ear, but walked in the counsels and in the imagination of their evil heart, and went backward and not forward.
Hey, I got a clip. Matter of fact, hey, play this clip because it made me laugh. Let me get it up real quick. Read Jeremiah 7 and 24 again.
Jeremiah chapter 7 and verse 24. But they hearkened not, nor inclined their ear, but walked in the counsels and in the imagination of their evil heart, and went backward and not forward. Since the day that your fathers came forth out of the land of Egypt unto this day, I have even sent unto you all my servants, the prophets.
So we've been told what to do and what not to do. But since the days of Egypt, we want to do what we want to do. And look where it's gotten us, back into another Egypt, back into another captivity. So going back to the book, we're going to go to page 10. Page 10 and through 14. Go ahead.
A man does not come to the almshouse or the jail by the tyranny of fate or circumstance.
So it's saying like this doesn't happen overnight. It just like God didn't say, I'm going to choose you to go through this particular trial or tribulation. Basically, what happens is you've done something that has a recompense. Like you're going to be paid back for what you've done. Something that you've done caused you to be put in this situation. Go ahead.
But by the pathway of groveling thoughts and base desires, nor does a pure-minded man fall suddenly into crime by stress of any mere external force. The criminal thought had long been secretly fostered in the heart.
So the things that we see, we watch, we hear, we keep that in our minds. And eventually it's going to manifest. It's just at the right opportunity for us to do it. Like no one says, you're like, you know what? I'm going to join IUIC, and when the opportunity is right, I'm going to steal everything that they have. Nobody just thinks that. It don't just, like, I'm going straight to them. Judas didn't have it in his mind, like, you know what, man, I'm going to set Christ up. It was already something that was in him, and the opportunity presented itself for him to do it because of something that was in him. Like, he was already a thief. And his pleasure was money. Money made him happy. That was his motivating force. So the chance to make more money, the opportunity presented itself. So the same thing with brothers and sisters here. It's not like they was like, you know what? I'm going to make that brother or sister my friend. And when the opportunity comes, I'm going to do something bad. Their natural nature shows in the situation, in the scenario. The scenario plays their natural being, who they are. And what we have to do is get rid of those evil thoughts of who we are. That's what the Bible is supposed to do for us for those particular situations. Like normally, I'll talk about that sister behind her back. Tell everybody all her business. That's a normal thought. You don't come into the truth. It's like, man, I'm going to come in here with that same spirit and mess everything up. That natural state just sets in. Go ahead and read that.
The criminal thought had long been secretly fostered in the heart, and the hour of opportunity revealed its gathered power. Circumstance does not make the man; it reveals him to himself.
So either you're going to be a righteous man, understanding like, listen, normally I would do this. That's how I normally do things. But now I'm a prudent man. I'm keeping the commandments. This is what I need to apply instead of what I would normally do. Because that opportunity presented itself for you to act a whole Negro in the middle of the store because somebody wronged you. But the scriptures tell you how you need to be with the other nations, with people. So that natural state is supposed to come if you're a man or a sister or if you're a being in this body. Read on.
Page 11.
Yes.
Men are anxious to improve their circumstances.
And this is one of the things that get people tripped up because, yeah, you are on the incline. Yeah, I'm an officer of 10 now. I'm officer of 20 now. I got more responsibilities. But then things happen and those responsibilities, they start to jump on you and like, you ain't got time for this. You want to do this. So guess what? You're going to cut corners so you can make sure that this gets done over this and this. Or you'll have somebody's admiration that's above you that you're trying to please. So you dismiss everybody under you to please people above you so they see that you're still that shining bright light that they saw coming up in the ranks. Those are the circumstances which going to say like, yeah, this is I'm this type of brother, I'm this type of sister. Your sin is going to reveal itself over time. Read.
Men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are willing to improve themselves, but are unwilling to improve themselves.
And that's what happens in us. That's why we still sin the way that we sin, is because it's certain things that we don't want to give up. It's certain things in the world that keep us comfortable and asleep to where it's like, I'm good with this sin. I ain't going to do that, but I ain't doing this. Read.
They therefore remain bound. The man who does not shrink from self-crucifixion can never fail to accomplish the object upon which his heart is set. This is as true of earthly as of heavenly things.
Next page.
Here is a man who is wretchedly poor.
So these are examples of a poor man, a rich man, and a businessman. Still going back to a man in his circumstances, how it reveals in his mind who he's going to be or what he's going to be when certain opportunities or tribulations come up. How is he going to respond in these things? So the first one is a poor man. Read.
Here is a man who is wretchedly poor. He is extremely anxious that his surroundings and home comfort should be improved. Yet all the time he shirks his work.
I told you that word was going to trip you up.
So
shirks mean put off. He makes excuses for it. Tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll get to the next day and this. This is why he's still in the state that he's in, because he procrastinates. Read.
Yet all the time he shirks his work and considers he is justified in trying to deceive his employer on the ground of the insufficiency of his wages.
And you see a lot of people, man, I ain't doing all of that work. They only pay me $2.37 to do this, man. I ain't doing everything. Man, he can pay me $5 more and I'll be the best employee. That's why you don't succeed, because you don't take, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't take pride in the work that you're given now.
Much is given, much is required.
So if you can't do the little things, how are you going to get to the bigger thing? But if you complaining about having to clean the toilets and mop the floor, how are you going to deal with bigger issues in the body? If you can't even master that, if you still complaining about those little things, because the men above you, that's what they were doing first. They were cleaning bathrooms, changing out the stalls and things, the toilet paper, cleaning pee off the floor and in the trash cans. They had to do these things too. So you consider yourself bigger and better than the next man that was doing it before you? You don't know what a CEO had to do to start his company and keep it running. But you're not willing to do the little things that you're being paid for. And this is all tying into you being a servant of God, because there are hardships that you are going to go through in this truth for your endurance. But you still got to use the wisdom that's given to you to master it. Read.
Such a man does not understand the simplest rudiments of those principles which are the basis of true prosperity, and is not only totally unfitted to rise out of his wretchedness, but is actually attracting to himself a still deeper wretchedness by dwelling in and acting out indolent, deceptive, and unmanly thoughts.
Because those things are going to catch up to you. Your boss is going to catch you stealing from the clock, which that's what it is, and theft has a punishment. You're going to get fired. So you wonder why you only got a job you got a new job 6 months. The next you get fired 3 weeks. You the brother that's jumping from job to job to job and can never keep up on his bills is because your thought process. It has a punishment, whether you believe it or not. So go to the next example. And it also said, these are unmanly thoughts. You sensual, you emotional. Read.
Here is a rich man who is the victim of a painful and persistent disease as the result of gluttony.
So his sin is gluttony. Here it is. He has a whole bunch of money. He can buy new organs. But what's his issue? Read.
He is willing to give large sums of money to get rid of it.
So he got a new heart. He got a new this. He done stole somebody's brain and put it in his so he can keep living, so he can spend the money. Read.
But he will not sacrifice his gluttonous desires. He wants to gratify his taste for rich and unnatural viands.
Yeah, that's it.
Viands and have his health as well.
You can't have both in this situation. Here it is. He trying to live rich and eat those rich meals that's killing him and pay for the disease to go away. You can't have both in this type of situation. Read.
Such a man is totally unfit to have health. Because he has not yet learned the first principles of a healthy life.
All right, and this is the third example. Read.
Here is an employer of labor who adopts crooked measures to avoid paying the regulation wage, and in the hope of making larger profits, reduces the wages of his workpeople.
So he's covetous and dishonest. Read.
Such a man is altogether unfitted for prosperity, and when he finds himself bankrupt, both as regards of reputation and riches, he blames circumstances, not knowing that he is the sole author of this condition.
And that's how we are with sin. They're like, man, I'm keeping the commandments. I'm doing this. Okay, examine yourself. Examine yourself. You say that you're doing everything right. Examine yourself. And this is the conversation that Job's friend was bringing to him. Surely you did something wrong. If you found yourself with all these problems, surely you did something wrong. Read on.
I have introduced these three cases merely as illustrative of the truth that man is the causer. Though near always is unconsciously of his circumstances, and that, whilst aiming at a good end, he is continually frustrating its accomplishment by encouraging thoughts and desires which cannot possibly harmonize with that end. Such cases could be multiplied and varied almost indefinitely. But this is not necessary, as the reader can, if he so resolves, trace the action of the laws of thought in his own mind and life, and until this is done, mere external facts cannot serve as a ground of reasoning.
So basically what it's saying, you're more than likely not going to keep good results off of bad practices. And that's how a Christian think. They think all they got to do is believe on Jesus, go to church every Sunday, be a good citizen, and when they take their last breath, apologize for all the evil that they've done, and suddenly they get the kingdom of heaven. And that's not so. It is hard work and labor that goes into seeking the Most High God. Scriptures say seek him 10 times more for what we've done. It's going to be a long road to get this kingdom. Read that last paragraph.
A man may be honest in certain directions, yet suffer privations.
So things are going to happen naturally because it's the life that we live in. Hey, listen, you might make $100 and lose 20 of it. Things like that happen. Read.
A man may be dishonest in certain directions, yet acquire wealth.
And sometimes evil does pay. Like drug dealers, they make a lot of money. Thieves, they make a lot of money. But it has a big repercussion coming from behind it. They still got to look over their shoulder because somebody may take their stuff. Read.
But the conclusion usually formed that the one man fails because of his particular honesty, and that the other prospers because of his particular dishonesty, is the result of a superficial judgment, which assumes that the dishonest man is almost totally corrupt, and the honest man almost entirely virtuous. In the light of a deeper knowledge and wider experience, such judgment is found to be erroneous. The dishonest man may have some admirable virtues, which the other does not possess, and the honest man obnoxious vices which are absent in the other. The honest man reaps the good results of his honest thoughts and acts. He also brings upon himself the sufferings which his vices produce. The dishonest man likewise garners his own suffering and happiness.
So we're going to jump right back into the Bible because is going off of rewards. We think that when we get awarded with things that's tangible, that are possessions. That's what we basing our riches and wealth on, and it's not that. It's that moral compass that's going to reward us. Because this honest man, even though that he went through problems, the natural tribulations of getting what he has, he's going to be able to enjoy it versus the man that was dishonest and he got his right up front. But his is going to come with a cost. He's going to have to look over his shoulder and constantly cover it up or do more wrong things to keep what he has. But an honest man, he's going to be able to keep it and live peacefully. So back to the scriptures. Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 25. And this is the sum of the point of reading everything that we was reading. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 25. Your iniquities have turned away these things.
So it's saying your sins have turned away these good things, because we're supposed to be in the kingdom of heaven. We supposed to have all the blessings that the Most High gave us. But where are we at right now? In captivity. So the things that we want, we hoping for, we want to be at the bottom of society, we want to be above our people. That ain't happening because we can't get right as a people. Read.
Your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withholden good things from you.
So it's our sins, our thought processes that's keeping good things away from us. Sirach chapter 5 and verse 2. We're going to read this to verse 11. Yeah, this is one of my favorite verses too when it gets down to it. Because a lot of people think that they're going to benefit and hide from doing an evil thing. Go ahead.
Sirach, the book of Sirach chapter 5 and verse 2. Follow not thine own mind and thy strength, to walk in the ways of thy heart, and say not, who shall control me for my works?
Ain't nothing gonna happen to me. I've been doing good so far. I've been getting this. I've been gaining this. I'm rich. I'm powerful. I'm this. I got this. I got this. If you got all your gains off of evil, don't glory in that. Read.
And say not, who shall control me for my works? For the Lord will surely revenge thy pride.
Because the Most High is real. He's a living God. And he's going to set things back in order. He's going to put you back in. Listen, I gave you everything that you had. And if you got it evil, you're going to be visited. Read.
Verse 4. Say not, I have sinned, and what harm hath happened unto me?
Man, look at all the benefits and profits that I had, man. Ain't nothing happened to me. God know my heart. Yeah, he do. Read.
For the Lord is long suffering.
He can wait. He has patience. And that's why I was saying, like, no man just comes to the almshouse by purpose, like by chance. You don't just become all of a sudden bankrupt without something that you did. Something that you did previously set this chain of events to happen the way that it's happening to you now. Read.
For the Lord is long suffering. He will in no wise let thee go.
You ain't gonna get away with it. Read.
Concerning propitiation, be not without fear to add sin unto sin.
And that's you trying to cover it up. You trying to create a lie to get out of what you've already done so you can keep benefiting off of your lie. Don't cover up your sins. Read.
And say not, his mercy is great.
God will forgive me. Read.
He will be pacified for the multitude of my sins.
Man, he know I just did a little bad to do good. Read.
For mercy and wrath come from him.
Read.
And his indignation resteth upon sinners.
Read.
Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord.
You better hurry up and fix it.
And put not off from day to day.
Stop procrastinating with these laws. Read.
For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed.
When you feel like you at peace and everything is successful, you good, well, guess what? That whole sensation is finna come down because of all the things that you did against God. Read.
And in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance.
All the things that you work for is gonna go away if you got them unjustly. Read.
Verse 8. Set not thine heart upon goods unjustly gotten, for they shall not profit thee in the day of calamity.
How is a nice house, all the money, protection, security going to save you from the Most High God? He created all of those things. It can't. So you putting your trust off in that is you following your own mind. He built you up and he will break you down. Read.
Winnow not with every wind, and go not into every way.
Don't take everybody's advice just because it's good for if it seems good for them. Don't think it's good for you. Read.
For so doth the sinner that hath a double tongue. Be steadfast in thy understanding, and let thy word be the same. Be swift to hear, and let thy life be sincere. And with patience give answer.
And that's how we're going to get there. Patience. It's a patient thing to obtain this kingdom. And a lot of us, we get impatient because we want things. We want to hurry up and get to the finish line. And this ain't no race for the swift. It's going to take time to get there. Get Matthew. Go to page 7 in As a Man Thinketh. I want to make this point before I get into Matthew.
Man's mind may be likened to a garden.
So Christ says something about this too, and we're going to read it in the scriptures. Read.
Man's mind may be likened to a garden, which may be intelligently cultivated, allowed to run wild. But whether cultivated or neglected, it must and will bring forth. If no useful seeds are put into it, then an abundance of useless weed seeds will fall therein, and will continue to produce their kind.
So how you think is what you're going to produce. What you put into your mind as a garden, that's what it's going to be. If you planting oranges, then that's what's going to come. So in the sense of how we're thinking, if you are consumed in evil, that's what you're going to do. But if you put your mind to righteousness, that's what's going to come out of your mind. So Matthew chapter 7 and verse 13. Because Christ ain't playing no games. And I got the garden scripture just to see. I know where you was finna go, but I'm not going to get that one. Matthew 7 and verse 13.
The book of Matthew chapter 7 and verse 13. Enter ye in at the straight gate.
So Christ is saying, go into the straight gate, meaning strict guidelines. Read.
Enter ye in at the straight gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction.
So there's many opportunities to go into evil. Like I said, sin is tangible, and it's rampant in the world that we live in. That's why he's saying go into the straight gate, the narrow gate. Read.
And broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which goeth in thereat. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it.
And it's going to be a few people that have the discipline and patience to find it. Read.
Verse 15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits.
So you're going to know evil by what they do. Read.
Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit.
So if you set to be evil, that's what you're going to produce. But if you set to be righteous, that's what you're going to produce. Read.
A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit.
Read.
Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
What was made crooked can't be made straight. What we read earlier. Read.
Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire.
So even in gardening, if this tree ain't producing anything, or even if you had like a chicken and it's not producing any eggs, what's the purpose of keeping the chicken? Same thing with the Most High. What's the point of your sinful behind? What he need you for? Kill his behind. Chop him down. Read.
Verse 20. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them.
So a righteous man, you gonna know him. An evil man, you gonna know him. By what he do, what he say, how he acts. Read.
Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Not everybody that wears fringes and say shalom ak is your brother. They ain't really after the kingdom. Read.
Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils? And in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you.
So what? I don't know you. You ain't keeping my commandments. I don't know you. Bye. Read.
Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house. And it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And every one that heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them not, shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell. And great was the fall of it.
So if you that brother or sister that be cutting corners, thinking that you can be seen of men keeping the commandments, but back at the ranch, you're not doing all of this. Your house is built on the sand. And you gonna fall. All that hard work that you did to perceive that you was keeping God's commandments, you gonna fall. But that brother or sister that endured in all the trials and tribulations, he gonna stand because he was really, or she was really about that life. Go to Luke 6:43. Luke 6:43. So it's saying the same thing in a different way in this book and chapter. About good treasures, good fruit.
The book of Luke, chapter 6, and verse 43. For a good tree bringeth not forth corrupt fruit, neither do a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. For every tree is known by his own fruit. For of thorns of men do not gather figs, nor of a bramble bush gather they grapes. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart.
Even speaking of that, like, this is how simple we can be as a people. Because we'll surround ourselves with people that we know that ain't good for us. And be like, nah, man, that's the homeboy, that's the homeboy, and they good, man. They just going through it. But that same person will go to the store and just the canned goods. If that canned good is beat up and mangled, you're going to move that out the way and get the good-looking can. That's how we are as a people. Like, food. What was it, like fast food? If something wrong with your fast food, you giving it back. Like, I didn't order that. That ain't right. You didn't do it right. We'll give that back. But when it comes to us with sin, it's like, nah, that's good, man. That's the homeboy. Yeah, he cool. That's just what he do. Like, you don't think something is wrong with us mentally that we will accept something good on, not even necessarily good or bad on that level, like the canned good thing. Like, the can is messed up, we ain't taking that. But somebody that with a jacked up spirit, we be like, yeah, that's the homeboy. That's the homegirl. Our minds is twisted. Read.
A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is good. And an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is evil. For of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaketh. And why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say?
What's the point of you pretending? You doing all of these things and you pretending. What's the point? What do you get out of it? You're going to get the same thing. Like, you doing all these works to show that you keeping the commandments, but you not really doing it. You just wasting your own time. Read. And that shows you what type of person it is, what it said above that. Read it again.
Verse 46. And why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? Whosoever cometh to me and heareth my sayings and doeth them, I will show you to whom he is like. He is like a man which built an house and dig deep and laid the foundation on a rock.
And that's what you're supposed to do with these commandments. These commandments are supposed to be your foundation to navigate through life. Read. And
when the flood arose, the stream beat vehemently upon that house, and could not shake it, for it was founded upon a rock. But he that heareth and doeth not is like a man that without foundation built an house upon the earth, and against which the stream did beat vehemently, and immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great.
All that hard work, All that hard work gone to waste, destroyed, one storm. Go to Psalms chapter 1 and verse 1 through 3.
Psalms chapter
1 through 3. Yeah, go ahead.
The book of Psalms chapter 1 and verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
So you watching the company that you keep, because you're not going to be around the people that's going to influence you to corrupt your mind, to make you think the way that is wrong is right. You're going to keep far away from those type of people. You're going to associate yourself with people that's going to motivate you to be better, to get the kingdom of heaven. Read.
Verse 2. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water.
Because it's right there by the water. It's getting all the water it needs to grow. That's what these scriptures are to you. This is the water that you need so you can grow in this truth. Read.
That bringeth forth his fruit in his season.
So you're going to produce. When trials and tribulations come, you're going to produce good fruits because you're planted by the water. You're keeping the commandments. Read.
That bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doth shall prosper.
You ain't going to want for nothing if you can change your mind, if you can keep your mind from being corrupted from the things that you see before you. Your ways have gotten you nowhere. Was that it? Was that all the way to 3?
Yes, sir.
Sirach, no. Go to page 16 in As a Man Think.
All right, page 16. A man only begins to be a man when he ceases to whine and revel.
So when you get rid of all the excuses and procrastination, this is when you become a man. You put away all the childish things in the way that Paul said it. Read.
And commences to search for the hidden justice which regulates his life.
Which is the laws of God. Read.
And as he adapts his mind to that regulating factor,
it becomes a natural life for him. It's not something that he thinks that he does as like a tradition or something that he's forced to do. It's something that becomes him. It's his everyday life. It's his habit. That's his life. Read.
And as he adapts his mind to that regulating factor, he ceases to accuse others as the cause of his condition.
You know what irks me is when people say, yeah, man, I was with y'all before, man. I used to be an Israelite. You cannot stop being an Israelite. You are born an Israelite. Just like you was born into your family, y'all have customs and ways. You just can't quit being who you are. It's just the process of your mind has changed. That's all you did. You changed the process of your mind to where you don't want to be what an Israelite actually is. That's what they're actually saying. I know it. But it just irks me when I ain't no Israelite no more. You can't stop being an Israelite. You just don't practice the ways of an Israelite. Read.
And as he adapts his mind to that regulating factor, he ceases to accuse others as the cause of his condition and builds himself up in strong and noble thoughts. Ceases to kick against circumstances, but begins to use them as aids to his more rapid progress.
This is what you call failing to succeed, because we're not above sin. Just like it says in 1 Kings chapter 8. There's no man that hadn't sinned, but you have a chance to fix it. As long as you have breath in your body, you have a chance to fight off these demons that's been plaguing you. Once you've made that mistake, don't make it again. Learn how in this same situation, how to do better, using the scriptures and the counsel that's around you, because the men have been through these things. The body that you're in, there's plethora of people that you can talk to that have been through different experiences that are common to us. No man is that, hey, this is different. And King Solomon told us that there's nothing new under the sun. Anything that you have gone through or going to go through, there's somebody that has already been through it. All you have to do is reach out and talk and say, hey, listen, I'm doing this. Should I do it this way or this way? You said no? All right, I'm going to do it anyway. And that's usually what we do, and end up in what we was told was going to happen. Were you done with that passage in that?
Little more.
Go ahead.
but begins to use them as aids to his more rapid progress and as a means of discovering the hidden powers and possibilities within himself.
So you're going to start to discover through your trials and tribulations, the things that you failed in, you can use those as tools to not fail again. All right, yeah, you made a mistake here. This is what I did wrong. You start to examine that instead of, man, this is why I don't start new stuff. Because this is what happens. As I start and I fall down harder. No, you made a mistake here, and this is what you need to do to improve this area, and eventually that estate is going to rise up. That's how you got to think about in these commandments. Now, go to, we just finished Sirach 19. Go to Sirach chapter 19 and verse 4.
The book of Sirach, chapter 19 and verse 4. He that is hasty to give credit is light-minded.
Because a lot of times you'll see a person succeed in something that you admire to do, and you don't know what he was going through just to get where he got, or even if he's doing the right things to get it, or if you're placed in that same situation, the same results are going to happen. Or you'll see a person that teaches great, but meanwhile back at the ranch, he in a whole mess of sins. Read.
He that is hasty to give credit is light-minded, and he that sinneth shall offend against his own soul.
And you only messing yourself up with sin. You holding yourself back, just like we read in Jeremiah. You withholding good things because of your sins, the way you think. Read.
Whoso taketh pleasure in wickedness shall be condemned.
It's going to catch up to you eventually. Read.
But he that resisteth pleasures crowneth his life.
Those dopamines that push out, that dopamine that push out when you satisfy yourself with those ungodly things, if you can resist those things, you're going to find your reward, a great reward that's going to be everlasting. Read on.
Verse 6. He that can rule his tongue shall live without strife, and he that hateth babbling shall have less evil. Rehearse not unto another.
That was it on that. So Psalms 141 and verse 4. We're going to get what King David was saying about how he wants to rule his spirit, what he don't want in his spirit. Psalms 141 and verse 4.
The book of Psalms, chapter 141 and verse 4. Incline not my heart to any evil thing.
He said, don't give my mind over to any evil thing. It's the same thing when Christ did his prayer. Don't lead us into temptation. That's what he's talking about. I don't want to be influenced by evil. I don't want to love it or like it. Read.
Incline not my heart to any evil thing, to practice wicked works with men that work iniquity.
Because if you think it, say it, you're eventually going to do it. If you rehearse this thing over and over that you want to do it, that you invest your mind in sinning, you're eventually going to do it. When an opportunity presents itself, you're going to sin. Because that's where your heart is. Read. Was that it?
And let me eat not of their dainties.
All right. Sirach 4 and 11. I want that first.
The book of Sirach, chapter 4 and verse 11. Wisdom exalteth her children.
So wisdom is going to praise you. If you do this thing right, you're going to see the praises that wisdom, you keeping the commandments, give you. Read.
Wisdom exalteth her children, and layeth hold of them that seek her.
So in every situation, wisdom is going to kick in like, you shouldn't do this. You should not be in this situation. You should get yourself out of here. You shouldn't be involved with these type of people. It's been no harm, but right now, it's not a good look for you. Wisdom is going to kick in to your conscience like that. It's because you're a studied person. Read.
He that loveth her loveth life. And they that
And it means that on a great level. If you love yourself in this matter, if you love wisdom in this manner, you're going to love your life, meaning that the kingdom of heaven is going to open up for you. Read.
He that loveth her loveth life. And they that seek to her early shall be filled with joy.
You're going to get that pleasure that you so anxiously want. You just got to be patient to get the understanding to get it. and if you even deserve it at that moment. Because sometimes we don't be deserving of the blessings that we so earnestly want. Read.
Verse 13. He that holdeth her fast shall inherit glory. And whatsoever she entereth, the Lord will bless.
And it said, he that holdeth her fast shall inherit glory. You know, amongst men, we are not really valued. The things that we do, the hard work, our aspirations, there's no pat on the back. What's the word? Is it aspiration? I asked you this before. Admiration. There you go. Thank you. There's no admiration. Boy, these words be tripping me up. There's no admiration given to us. There's no, like, hey, listen, you doing a good job. You got up. I know it's hard, man. Your boss. There's none of that for us. But coming into this truth, when you do good works, you get that. You get that exhortation that's needed to keep you going. And that influence right there tells you, like, all right, man, I'm pleasing the Most High. That's the Most High reaching out. Like, yeah, you doing what I need you to do. Appreciate it. Keep doing it. Here's a little bit extra. That's what we want. That's what we want out of life. It ain't the material things that's going to give us that this world has taught us. Read.
He that holdeth her fast shall inherit glory. And whatsoever she entereth, the Lord will bless. They that serve her shall minister to the Holy One. And them that love her, the Lord doth love. Whosoever giveth ear unto her shall judge the nations.
You're going to be a ruler. At one point in time, this is what we all want. We want to be at the top of society. If you give your ear, your undivided attention to wisdom, you're going to be a ruler over nations. Read.
Whoso giveth ear unto her shall judge the nations. And he that attendeth unto her shall dwell securely.
And that's better than a mansion and a Ferrari and all these things that the world has to offer. You're going to be the ruler. You're going to judge the people, the earth. Read.
If a man commit himself unto her, he shall inherit her. And his generations shall hold her in possession.
It's going to continue within your kids, your grandkids, and their kids after them. Read.
For at the first she will walk with him by crooked ways.
Yeah, you still going to be a little jacked up. You still going to be doing things wrong because it takes time to fix the things that you said. I said this in another class. Let me make sure I get the words right. What you do in 5 minutes can take 10 years to fix. And that's what happens when you take hold of wisdom. It's got to go back and fix all those mistakes that you've created in your life. And a lot of people, they fall out because, man, I'm sick of this. I come up 2 and I get knocked down 3. Well, because you've been doing this for a while. It don't just magically disappear. Nothing in life happens like that. Like take if you break a piece of glass. How many different pieces does that glass break into? And then imagine you try to put all those pieces back together to where it's the same shape before you broke it. That's your life before you come into the truth. And here it is. You don't even get 3 pieces put together and you're ready to quit. Read. Start at 17 at the top.
Verse 17. For at the first she will walk with him by crooked ways, and bring fear and dread upon him, and torment him with her discipline, until she may trust his soul and try him by her laws.
So you're going to be tried by the things. Get put off in this situation to see if the commandments are going to come out or your own thoughts going to come out in this situation. Read.
Then will she return to the straight way unto him, and comfort him, and show him her secrets.
Now you're going to be given more because you've proven yourself that, yeah, I can handle the little things. I made it through this task and I endured. So now more things is going to be given to you. Read.
Then will she return the straight way unto him, and comfort him, and show him her secrets. But if he go wrong, she will forsake him, and give him over to his own ruin.
So if you fail in this scenario, well, guess what? All that wisdom, you starting from scratch. You might not even know that you're an Israelite anymore. Messing around with wisdom will take all those good things away from you. You had a good name. Now your name is dung in Israel. You ever heard the phrase of, you'll never work in this city again? That's what Christ is saying. I don't know you. Move away from me, worker of iniquity. You'll never get the kingdom of heaven. Me and my Father don't know you. Read.
Observe the opportunity and beware of evil, and be not ashamed when it concerneth thy soul. For there is a shame that bringeth sin, and there is a shame which is glory and grace.
So jump to Sirach 6 and verse 18. Because it's still going on the guise of what wisdom will do for you.
Sirach chapter 6 and verse 18. My son, gather instruction from thy youth up.
That's what we're supposed to be doing. When we're a child, we need this information to prosper in life. Not to have riches and mansions and be famous. It's to please the Most High, to get the kingdom of heaven, to be the rulers and gods on earth that we're supposed to be. That's the wisdom that we're supposed to, the instruction that we're supposed to be getting. Read.
My son, gather instruction from thy youth up. So shalt thou find wisdom till thine old age.
You'll never be able to be deceived. You'll never fall for these tricks that Esau got for us. Read.
Verse 19. Come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth, and wait for her good fruits.
So again, it's going back to the garden scenario. That's the word I use because I don't. These words be getting me these days. Boy, I used to be on it with the words. Now they slip in my mind. Read it again.
Come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth.
So it's saying it's hard work. It's hard work to get up and be a gardener, a farmer. Read.
And wait for her good fruits.
So just like one that's planting a garden, you got to wait till the crop's harvest. Same way with your works in this truth, with your acts, with keeping the commandments. You're going to have to work hard to get to that, to the good fruits. Read.
For thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her, but thou shalt eat of her fruits right soon.
And you're going to see the results. People are going to see the results that something is different about you. I remember that you in this situation, you would have did this, but what changed? The commandments is what changed. And you're going to see that how other people handle the same situation that you were placed in is totally off versus how you do things. You're going to see those fruits like, dang, keeping the commandments is actually working because you're able to stable your life. Read.
She is very unpleasant to the unlearned.
And people that don't like God, like, oh, man, I don't like what that, no, man, I ain't doing what you're doing. I don't like that. I don't like being disciplined. You can't do what? You can't go where? Man, y'all don't have no type of fun. It's unpleasant to them. The fun that we call fun is unpleasant to a sinner because they like the other stuff, like adultery and clubbing and bouncing from chick to chick, having an unstable life, making many babies and not being a real father. That's what's fun to them. Having baby mama drama is fun to certain people. Having domestic violence, having broken homes, that's reality TV as we know it today. That's entertainment today. Read.
She is very unpleasant to the unlearned. He that is without understanding will not remain with her. She will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial, and he will cast her from him ere it be long. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many.
Many people ain't gonna get this. They gonna hear it and like it, but they ain't really gonna get this. Read.
Give ear, my son. Receive my advice and refuse not my counsel. And put thy feet into her fetters and thy neck into her chain. Bow down thy shoulder and bear her. And
become a servant to wisdom. Your whole objective in life is to be a servant to keeping the commandments, to God. Read.
Bow down thy shoulder and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds. Come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power.
With all your strength, all your soul, love God. Read.
Search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee.
So if as much as you want, you will find it. Read.
And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go. For at the last thou shalt find her rest, and thou shalt be turned to thy joy.
The same thing is said in chapter 4. It's going to be hard at first, But then it's going to be like, man, I like this change. It's not as hard as I thought it was. It was me making it hard. Read. Now you get into the mind to where it was me the whole time. It was how I thought on life. It was my reaction to all the things that came against me. But wisdom changes all of those things once you give it the proper chance. Another word I couldn't think of. Go ahead.
Then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her change a robe of glory.
So now you felt like you was being held back. You couldn't go around this. You couldn't have friends anymore. You couldn't go around your family like that. Now you got new friends, new family, and there's no drama. Read.
For there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace.
Now you looking good keeping the commandments. At first, it looked like something terrible. Sisters be like, I don't know how y'all wear them dresses. Y'all, they thinking of the old fashion dresses, looking like sackcloths, things like that. No, sisters be looking better than you. Right. You showing your whole body. You know, you look terrible to us. They look better. Read.
Thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and thou shalt put her about thee as a crown of joy. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be
prudent. If you apply your mind, you're going to be taught. You're going to understand what to do and what not to do, and it's going to be a joy for you to either do it or not do it. It's only grievous because you make it grievous. Read.
My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. And if thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise. Stand in the multitude of the elders, and cleave unto him that is wise.
Because you're going to get experiences. You're going to hear a different type of conversation. Like when you're at work, there's a type of conversation at work. When you're amongst friends, there's a type of conversation that you have. But when you're around studied men, the conversation is like, man, I've never heard this language before. Like you can do it like this. You have this. Like, wow, I never thought about it in this light until you are around these type of men. And that's what being around a body is going to give you. For those of you that says, man, I keep that you study online only. You have no camp whatsoever. You're not really purging your sins because there's nobody to check you. If you got people to check you on how you thought, even if you ain't even uttered the things that you've been dealing with, you'll be in a conversation or with a brother who's like, yeah, man, I'm going through it today, man. My wife this, my kids this, work this, and this is how I dealt with it. He's like, dang, I'm going through that same situation. But he handling it like this, like it's nothing. That's the strength that wisdom is saying that it's going to give you, to where it's not a weight. Waking up and going to work, it's not going to be a weight because you know that you're going to get the kingdom of heaven and all that is going to be over. You just got to be patient enough to deal with it. Read.
Verse 34, stand in the multitude of the elders, and cleave unto him that is wise. Be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee.
Ask questions.
And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door.
And a lot of times people be like, man, I know you busy, man. I ain't want to bother you. Man, bother me. It's all right. You good. Sis, bother me. It is no bother being a servant. This is the job of a prophet. It is for the people to bother them with healing them. Don't call on no nonsense. You just want to have a conversation and this and that and that. Hey, listen, if you need something, just call. We ain't here to just shoot the breeze and just look the part. We're here to be the part so you can replace us. So you can be there for your people in the same manner as we are. We're all servants. And that's the mind that we have to do. And it ain't no bother. Give a call. If you bored, you want to shoot, hey, you might hear something that you ain't never heard before. Come by something. Read.
Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments.
And after all of that, now you got to think these things. Because if you continuously think these things that's written, guess what? You're going to do them. And if you think these things more and more and more, less and less, those evil things are going to come. Read.
He shall establish thine heart and give thee wisdom at thine own desire.
Was that it? Yep. I missed. Read it again. I missed.
Verse 37.
Yeah.
Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord.
Constantly think of the situations that you've been in your life and how you've dealt with them, and compare them to the scriptures. That's how you're going to meditate on these scriptures every single day when you're not physically reading or watching a class or around brothers. That's one thing that I do. I'm like, dang, man, I've been in this situation, and I just be zoned out thinking of certain commandments and how I should respond according to the commandments in this situation. Or if I'm really battling a demon, I rehearse these things to combat it. That's the same thing Christ did when he was fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. Read. He used the scriptures. That was it. Nope. Yeah, finish it.
Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart and give thee wisdom at thine own desire.
So he said he's going to establish your heart, meaning you're going to be stable in these scriptures. You're going to be stable in the endurance. Is when you want to interject your thoughts and your ways that have failed you up until this point and implement those like they're going to work. He's going to establish you, stabilize your mind and your heart, put you at rest or ease with the laws. So Proverbs chapter 8, 1 through 14. Yeah, I told you it was going to be a lot of reading. I dang near rewrote this class after, trying to reorganize it. And these scriptures just like popped up and they came together wonderfully.
Proverbs
chapter 8 and verse 1.
Verse 1. Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 1. Doth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice?
So the Bible is being taught. There's almost nowhere you can go where you ain't hearing this Bible. Read.
She standeth in
taught correctly.
She standeth in the top of high places, by the way in places of the paths. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors.
At 3, verse 3.
Verse 3. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors.
So this Bible is going everywhere. There's nowhere that you can't hear this truth. Go on.
Unto you, O men, I call.
And to the men, he's calling us to be leaders, to be actual men, to change our thought process for our good, not to hurt us. A lot of people think that this truth, man, y'all can't do nothing. Y'all do this. Y'all can't go here. No, this truth ain't to hold us back from anything. It's to give us everything that the world said that we don't deserve. It's your mind and what's been planted into your mind that's telling you that a good thing is evil. Read.
Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of men.
Read.
O ye simple, understand wisdom.
So here it is. The disrespect continues. He called us simple because we are. How is it that we have a living God and we pray to a tree, a white man in a tree, and he's showing us that he hates us? When I mean tree, the cross. Read.
O ye simple, understand wisdom.
So understand wisdom. Did we read Psalms 19? I know I had it written down.
We ain't read Psalms 19.
Go ahead.
And ye fools, be ye of an understanding heart. Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the openings of my lips shall be right things.
So God is telling us, like, listen, I'm going to tell you right things. It's all right. It's all truth. It's how we have been taught that it's not. Because it goes against our natural way of thinking, which has been wrong. Our grandparents been wrong, granddaddy been wrong, your daddy wrong, your mama wrong, your auntie wrong, your cousin wrong. The person that you look to on the block, he wrong, she wrong. Read.
Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the openings of my lips shall be right things. For my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips.
So God ain't gonna ever teach us wrong. He ain't never gonna put us in situations to where it's meant for us to fail. It's you who think that, man, God, man, why you do me like this? No, it's been you the whole time. It's been your devices, the things that wow you in life got you in this situation. And you got to answer for it at this point. Read.
All the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing forward or perverse in them. They are all plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge.
You got to seek this thing to understand why God has things set up the way he has it. Why you go through the things that you go through. Why keeping the commandments to you is so hard. You got to read these scriptures for yourself and understand that it hasn't been God. It's been you the whole time. You've been doing things wrong, and this is the right way to do it. Sometimes the good advice, it don't seem right when you're in that situation. Like you're telling me that I have to cut this off? Like the example that Christ used. You have to pluck out an eye to get to the kingdom of heaven. He ain't saying it physically. It's like certain hardships, because you love it, you're going to have to cut it off. That's a tough thing. But if you love me, you're going to cut that thing off. Read.
Receive my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold.
So he's saying, like, listen, don't excel to be rich in this world. Not saying that you can't have money, but the thing that you need the most is the instructions of God. That's where your riches lie. Read.
For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the forward mouth do I hate.
So God said he hates your pride. The way you think, I hate it. It's wrong. It's perverse. It's forward. The way I think and talk, it's 100% right and accurate for you. I know what's best for you. Just listen to me. Read.
The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the forward mouth do I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength.
God is letting you know everything that you need, I have it. And it's yours if you will listen. Go to Proverbs chapter 11. 11 and verse 30. I'm almost done.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 11 and verse 30. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise.
So the fruit of the righteous is the tree of life. That's eternal life. If you keep in the commandment, you're going to get that eternal life. That's what living is for us. Like it says in Ecclesiastes. Samuel chapter 2. I'm still in Proverbs. Samuel. 1 Samuel 2. Start at verse 2.
Samuel chapter 2 and verse 2. There is none holy as the Lord, for there is none beside thee, neither is there any rock like our God.
There's no support like God, and there's no God next to God. He's the one that dictates everything for us. Read.
Talk no more so exceeding proudly.
That self-made mentality that you got is a lie. No one is self-made. You either seen it, heard it, or experienced it from somebody else, and you implemented it into your life. No one on this earth is self-made. That is a lie that people tell themselves to boost themselves up, like nobody gave me nothing. We all got it from God. Read.
Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth. For the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed.
So your fruits are going to be weighed. What you do, what you don't do, is still going to be weighed. Read.
The bows of the mighty men are broken.
By him. He can stop war. He can start it. Read.
And they that stumbled are girded with strength.
And those that are weak, they are strengthened. Ain't we in a weak state right now? This Bible is what's going to strengthen us. Read.
They that were full have hired out themselves for bread. And they that were hungry ceased.
So he controls whether you eat or you don't. It all comes from God. So what are you going to do? What can you do that God can't? Read.
And they that were hungry ceased. So that the barren hath borne 7, and she hath many children, and she that hath many children is waxed feeble.
So it's going into a woman that's able to have kids. God is who says that, okay, the doctor says you couldn't have kids. Well, here's 7. The one that don't want to have no more kids, all right, done. Read.
The Lord killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up.
I kill, I heal, I make alive. Read.
The Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up.
So you not self-made. Your pride, you thinking that you can do things and make it in life, you're not doing it without the Most High. Read.
He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among the princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory.
And that's what you see happening in this captivity today. We're the poor. We're the ones in the dunghill. We're the princes that's going to be raised up to rule this earth. It's going to happen by the power and knowledge and wisdom of God, if you love him. Read.
For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. He will keep the feet of his saints.
He going to take care of us. Whether
And
you believe it or not, he going to take care of us.
And the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail.
So by your own strength, you ain't going to prevail. You ain't going to prosper. If the Most High said, I don't want him to have it, I don't want her to have it, you won't have it. As soon as he say, I want him to have it, you can get it. So what I want y'all to grasp from this is changing your mind, and watch what you're changing your mind into, because this Bible is here for our help and strength to heal us. That broken mind that we have, because our whole education is TV and Esau. It's broken. And the words that you're using, it all comes from Esau. You've been programmed by him. Now you got to be unprogrammed and reprogrammed by God's laws. And it's going to help you navigate through life for your success. So with that, I say shalom. Most High Christ bless.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road. Purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.